This episode is brought to you by the American Archangel Club. Archangels are one of the most unique breeds in the hobby, known for their beautiful metallic colors and striking appearance. The American Archangel Club is made up of breeders and exhibitors who are passionate about the breed and helping new people get involved. If you'd like to learn more about the Archangels or connect with other breeders, check out the American Archangel Club on Facebook. If you love pigeons, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the All About Pigeons Podcast, the world's only podcast dedicated to every aspect of the pigeon hobby. I'm your host, Phillip Fry, and every episode is listener requested, ad-free, and created for pigeon enthusiasts from around the world. Whether you're flying homers, showing pigeons, flying performance breeds, keeping pigeons as pets, or just getting started in the hobby, we're here to learn, share, and celebrate pigeons together. Connecting pigeon fanciers across countries, cultures, and generations. This is the All About Pigeons podcast. Today we're going to be covering the breed Archangels with Mike Temple. He is the Secretary Treasurer of the American Archangel Club. We're going to talk all about the Archangel Pigeon. So Mike, thanks so much for coming on and talking with us.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome.
So let's hear your origin story with this breed and how that all got started.
You talking about like my personal experience?
Yeah, how did you get started with the Archangels?
Well, it was back in about 99 or 2000. Actually, a friend of mine, we went over to visit him. He had a couple different breeds of pigeons, but we got over to his house and he had these archangels there. I'd never seen them before. And he actually gave a pair to my son. So actually my oldest son got the first pairs. Then I really grew liking to them after having them for a while, and then it just kind of took off from there. So yeah, actually they were a gift from a friend of mine to my son, and I liked them, and then got more involved with the breed, started raising them myself, and started finding out that what we actually had to start with probably wasn't the best, and worked from there.
Was it the colors or the cresting, or what was it that really pulled you into that breed?
I just thought I don't know, this just the two different colors, the gold, and the copper on them. 'Cause there's really
Oh
nothing
yeah.
much to compare them to, and then with the
Mhm.
black wings with the iridescent sheen on there, and that's what kind of draw. And I really like the peak crest, and I just the overall bird. I just thought it was amazing, all the sheen on it.
What makes those birds gleam like that? Why are they so different than any other? I mean, I know they got color like a color pigeon, but why do they seem to like have metallics to their colors?
But it's mostly genetics, I think, bred over the years to reform that and intensify it. But they actually have, but a lot of different color pigeons have grease quills. I know some of that's related to the sheen. They're kind of back in towards the rump area on the sides. There'll be like little kind of caramel yellowish quills that hold grease that the birds pull the oil out of and stuff to preen themselves with. But that helps with the sheen too. I think a lot of
Oh,
it's
really?
genetics of the bird. I actually think it's naturally probably it was like a water repellent kind of thing too. Like ducks have an oil gland
Yeah.
that they're always getting oil from, rubbing through their feathers. I think in God's way or whatever, that was what that what that was for. Actually, was a water repellent. The oils and stuff they get from the quills.
Is that common in all pigeons, do you know, or is that more in color pigeons or just archangels?
Well, I'm not sure about all pigeons, but I know a lot of the color pigeon breeds have grease quills like that. Probably more than ones that have the iridescent sheen, like some of your white tails, and some of them have the sheen, or starlings. I know, I believe swallows have maybe some of the black colored swallows, but I know some of the blue ones, which they don't have a lot of sheen, but I know those birds have grease quills too.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, and I can't think of any other breeds that really have that just metallic look to them other than Archangels.
No, not
They really
really.
stand out. And
You have your birds that have sheen on their neck sheen and stuff, but
right, yeah.
nothing like that.
And what is the what kind of birds went into this making the Archangel? Like what's their history and the origin of the breed itself?
Well, I'm not sure what went into making the breed, but I'm not sure what they or I know it's an ancient breed, and
Okay.
if I say yeah, it because like the countries of origin actually have changed names since the documentation of it's Mardia. Anyway, like a Croatian in a area is where they originated from, but they were they've been raised in Germany for centuries, and in England too. Like they were refined a lot there. I know that the Germans are probably one of the Europe area, Germany, Belgium, places like
Hmm.
that are probably some of the best quality ones in the world.
Oh, okay. How long have they been here in the States for?
That's a good. I think they've been here for at least 100 years longer. I've seen some bits and pieces from, our Archangel Club that we have right now, originated in '93. But I've seen actually documentation from, back in the '60s, and I've seen some clear back into the '20s of an Archangels clubs being in existence. Yeah, I'd say they'd had been in the United States for at least 100 years or longer.
Oh, okay. So I think the listeners of this podcast probably know this. And this is on me, I guess. I use this breed specifically as an example whenever I ask somebody, what's that breed's temperament like? Is it like an archangel? Is it real flighty? So
Yeah,
sorry about that to all the archangel breeders out there. I had archangels for a brief time. I was drawn in by they're beautiful. And I had them in my loft, but every time I walked in, they'd fly off their eggs and they'd scurry all over the place. And I was like, nope, nope, not interested. But how do you really? Is it different when you've kind of bred through a few generations? Do they calm down, or how do you handle a bird like that if they are really that flighty?
yeah. I mean, sure. A lot of the color pigeons are flighty like that. I don't know if my birds are really considered. I'd say probably the ones that are the flightiest of any of the colors would be the blue wing variety. My black wings, like I was in the loft cleaning yesterday, and I don't know if hardly any of them even came off their nests while I was scraping, even in the box that they're in. And
Uh,
and the blue wings came off the nest first, of course, but a lot of them set pretty tight. I don't know. I did. There's a thing, I don't know if it's from me just breeding for generations here, because I've had them for over 25 years. I don't know. I think most of mine are pretty common, especially the black wings, the copper black wings. And I don't know if that's just from, you know, so many different, me having them so long. I mean, I didn't really select for the calmest birds, but like I say, I always want to make a video every time somebody, and put it online saying when I'm feeding them and stuff, and they're right there at my feet and stuff, and nobody's or sitting in the nest or whatever, and nobody's bouncing off the walls like like I've heard some people talk about.
yeah. So just like any pigeon breed, I guess, in that aspect, the more you breed them and they get familiar with you, especially after generations, 25 years. I mean, they probably know you pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I even think, I always wear the same hat and stuff, and they're easy to do chores. And sometimes I think I'll throw a Iowa Hawkeye hat on, and it's bright yellow, and I come in there and I can see a difference in their actions from being calmer. I don't know if it's just a bright color. It looks different to them. It spooks them. I don't know. I mean, I have old German owl pigeons too, and we can't really compare them to the Archangels. I mean, they're more of a docile breed and pretty calm. And I have some other color pigeons too, and I don't know. They're. I don't know if they're really spooky either. I don't know.
So What does your loft setup look like? How many lofts do you have, and how do those set up? Are they open loft or you got individual nest boxes?
I have I raise archangels both, mainly in open loft. That's what I have right now. I have a few pairs of birds in individual pens, but they're another breed. But anyway, yeah, I have pretty good luck breeding them in open loft, and I've bred them in individual pens. The one thing about individual pen breeding, you don't ever have to worry about somebody not being faithful with their mate, like you do in open loft. You never know. Sometimes you see things, that is like, and or you have babies that pop out once in a while that are like, you know, somebody was,
Right.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, mostly there's some open loft, and they're pretty good parents, and they'll raise. If I let them go, I usually try to cut off in the middle of summer or August, somewhere around there, because you start getting at max capacity of what you can handle for birds. But yeah, they'd go longer than that if I'd let them. I mean, I've had pairs before that I let raise, 4 or 5 rounds.
Wow.
Let them go more. I've had some I think raise more than that in the past.
What kind of flooring system do you have in your loft?
Well, I got some smaller pens that I kind of rearing pens out there that have wire floors in the backs of them and a wood deck that they feed off of. Got a couple
Okay.
different ones of them. But since I moved, my main loft right now is a single car garage, like 10 by 18 with a concrete floor, actually. I've never had a loft with a concrete floor. It wasn't even that bad this spring. I thought maybe some moisture issues, but it stayed fairly dry, actually. And, I put base down, over the years, and I'm just kind of more into anymore with the dust and everything from putting wood shavings or corn cobs or something like that down. I just really rather have the bare floor and just keep it scraped,
Okay.
dust and stuff.
What about do you have any kind of before the breeding season starts, do you have any kind of management steps that you go through, a deworming, or do you give supplements or anything like that to the birds?
Yeah, I like to treat them, before breeding with a 3-in-1 that I get from Foy's. It's a wormer for coccidia and canker. I like
Okay.
treating them with that to start with, and then periodically through the breeding season, I use Foy's Ultra Pro. It's a vitamin probiotics. I like
Mm,
using that in the winter. I think good healthy pigeons start with a good healthy gut. Yeah, keeping that in mind. I mean, I think since last year when I moved, I think I had lost one bird, and besides the squabs this spring from the up and down temperatures. I mean,
right.
that's a gimme every year in Iowa where I live at. It can be 80 one day, and the next day it can be 25. You never know.
That's harsh. Yeah, that's really hard on the youngsters.
Yes, it is.
What do you do for what do you do for lice and mites?
I just usually I'll spray them with a flea and tick, like before the show season or whatever birds I'm going to show. But during the summer months, I just use it's like an Ivermectin cattle drench that you
Oh
mix with
yeah.
the water, and also if they drink the water, it'll worm them too. I've had good luck with that, and or borax. I mean, last year with me buying a different house and stuff, I didn't, get to do the normal stuff that I normally do. I was giving them baths with this borax and stuff, and I really didn't see hardly any bugs on them this fall when I did happen to make it to a show. But I know that Taurus is pretty popular these days.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a
It's
lot
a
of people liking that
termicide.
stuff.
Just put it
Yeah.
on your lawn.
Are
Yeah,
you vaccinating your birds?
I have.
What are you
Yeah,
doing
I
that?
usually vaccinate 'em for PMV.
Okay.
Huh?
I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna ask
usually
you where you
vaccinate 'em for
vaccinate.
PMV,
Okay.
and I have vaccinated for salmonella too. But I've kind of, I don't know. When I was a kid, when we raised birds, we didn't give them anything. I mean, we
Mhm.
fed them crack corn. They drank out, and you never seen anybody was sick. Nobody was sick.
Yeah.
We let 'em free fly. Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I kind of wonder if some of this stuff is even beneficial. I
Yeah.
guess.
Do you ever turn your archangels out and let them free fly?
No, especially at my old house. I haven't seen very many hawks around here yet, but I live
Uh,
right on the edge of town. There's a lot of woods. I know
oh,
my stepdad lives down the street from me, 2 blocks, has a place, and he has some Oriental roller that he got from me years ago, and he's still got a group of them, and he lets them loose, and yeah, the hawks are down there chasing his birds around, but
uh, yeah.
but no, no. I used to fly some rollers and stuff, but never. I've thought about having a flock, maybe culls or something, Archangel culls, stuff that wasn't good enough to show or breed from, and fly them. But I'm just kind of actually right now where I live at. I'm kind of just kind of, you know, I've only lived in this neighborhood for like 6 months, so I'm just kind of feeling out my neighbors.
Yeah, I got you on that one. Do does your loft have like an aviary for the archangels to go out into?
Yeah, I got uh a bigger fly pen that they is on the south side of the building. I think it's I don't know 6 feet wide, 6 feet tall, and I think 8 feet long, I believe, and that they can go out in. And then I got another window on the east side of the building with a I call it like a bath pen on there. It's got
Okay,
like a
yeah.
3 by 3 foot on there, so they got like two areas they can go out in, and I put bath pans out there and then get sun and
That was interesting. I think it was in Levi's book, Making Pigeons Pay. They had an article, or one of the chapters in there was about the bath pans and how they had their aviaries set up, and they had the pictures of all the bath pans, and they said they
uh-huh.
did kind of a test about whether the baths made no difference on because it's a production facility, so that's what their outcome was based on. It made no difference in production of squabs of whether the birds had baths or whether the birds didn't have baths. But I always feel like pigeons are a lot happier, the more baths they get, especially in the hotter months. I feel like that's just gonna
Oh,
make them happier and maybe want to breed more. I don't know.
I agree. I think it helps with the molt a lot too.
Oh,
I
for
uh
sure, yeah, during the molt, yeah.
I yeah, that, and like for show prep too. I like them to. I mean, I've brought birds in my house in the wintertime and washed them right in the bathtub and stuff. But if I can put a pan out in the fly pen and they take their own baths, but I think it makes them look so much nicer
Yeah.
when they get the baths. And they really like it. Even when it rains out, they'll be laying out in the fly pen with the one wing hiked up in the air.
Yep.
Yeah, just getting all wet. It don't even matter if it's cold out. I put bath pans out before there's snow on the ground. They'll take a bath.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen them out there when it's like sleeting, like rain and
Yeah.
snow coming down and they're out there in the Avery, like you're saying, hiking one wing up, like, oh, this is great. Like, really,
Yep.
guys? Like, okay,
Yep.
yeah, pretty tough bird, that's for sure. They're enjoying it.
Yeah.
So you were saying that these guys, you can get 4 rounds out of them before, you choose to separate them out. And I've kind of heard this before that, the kind of color pigeons tend to be really good breeders. So, I mean, that seems to be the case then with archangels.
Yeah, they race fairly well. I've raised racing pigeons and homers before too, and they're very productive.
Hmm.
But for a fancy breed, yeah, they raise well, feed their babies. I've never had to. One thing I like about them, they'll usually make sure the babies are big enough to fend, to start eating on their own before they start nesting again. I've seen
Okay.
some breeds I've had that will, 2 weeks after the babies are born, they're wanting to breed again and lay more eggs. And
Yeah.
sometimes they don't take care of their swabs as good. Archangel seems to be good at that.
Nice. Yeah. That's a really good trait to have. So the colors and patterns on this breed, I mean, that's what makes this bird. And the even the names of the colors, they're not your typical names. They're not your typical colors either. I don't want to I know we could go down a pretty deep rabbit hole on this, but can you kind of give us some of the ones that we might maybe see here in the States and maybe some of the colors that you're working on? specifically with this breed?
There's two ground colors in Archangels, the main ones. There's your gold, which is a light bronze, and then they got the copper, which is the old name dark bronze. And then are the two base colors, them are your body color. And then you have three main wing shield colors. You got either black, blue, or white, and they come in both in gold and copper of each color of wing shield. Them are the six main ones. And then you have, some self birds in there. You got gold or red or black selves. These are all in the United States. I mean, they come in. I mean, I got a few white flighted birds. They come in white flights. They come in a checker. You can get checker patterns in the blue wings or barred and in the white wings too. There's several people that are working on brown wings, and they have some very nice birds. There's several different people in the United States that are working on them, and they're both in copper and gold, and they're a brown colored wing. They're interesting looking bird. You got people working on white bars and stuff. Marv Jones, copper blue wing white bars, gold blue wing white bars. You got them in kind of a opal bar stuff too. Some opals. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of people having almond ones and stuff. I've never seen them before, but like I
Wow.
say, yeah, and then people are working on Gary Romig's working on I think some monk mark ones, and he's working on white bars too. Yeah, the monk and the priest mark ones are pretty cool, but we don't really have any besides what people have created here. We don't have any of the stuff that I know of that like the Germans do or over in Belgium, but that are very cool. But they're the thing about the monk mark ones is most of your archangels have a orange eye, and the monk mark ones with the monk or priest mark heads, capped and white flighted, they're uh they're bull eyed.
Hmm.
But them are some of the, but yeah, probably the main three colors, three windshield colors: black, blue, and white, and gold and copper is the main ones you see if you're going to go to a show. You'll see some black selves once in a while, or some gold selves, or you'll see some of the brown wing ones too. If a few of the guys that raise them show up, which they usually do at some of the shows.
So speaking of the shows, what are what are some of the points given to this breed? Uh, like the how's that breakdown go for this breed?
Well, it's mainly about the color. Actually, here I'm looking at a 1993 bulletin of the American Archangel Club, and the Archangel Bronze is, of course, well, it says Archangel Bronze, including pigment, iridescence, and grease quill, is 40 points. So yeah, it's mainly about the color
Wow.
of the bird. Body is like 20 points. Peak crest is 5. Color combination, clarity, and definition are 25. And they actually got in here tameness. We were talking about earlier about people talking
Yeah.
about their wall. Tameness, 10 points. I mean, this is from when the club originally started. I don't think I've ever seen anybody. I've seen people make comments about birds climbing the sides of the cages, but I've never heard them ever knock a. It's mainly comes down to the color of the bird. I mean,
Yeah.
if it comes down, you got two birds that are equal in the color and the sheen and everything's marked quite right, and if one's got a little bit better peak crest than the other one, I'm going to pick the one with the better peak crest. We try to keep the peak crest looking good, but where they're supposed to be, but it's not like I say, it's 5 points. Peak
Yeah.
crest is 5 points.
5 points. Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah, out of your 100. So it's mainly about the color, and you don't want the birds getting too big, and you don't want to get them too small. I've seen little archangels, I've seen bigger archangels, but
huh.
they're pretty consistent. If you go to a show and you walk down the aisle and look at the birds, like if you go to the Young Bird Show in Kentucky or the Nationals or another bigger show or anywhere, they'll be pretty consistent on size, hens and cocks.
Is there any one common fault that you think that this breed overall needs to be working on when it comes to showing?
Well, I mean, well, you always got to be working on the color. You want to keep it as tense and go as deep as the feather as you can on the ground color. Um, I'd say probably some of the was probably working on getting the hawks color better. They seem to be like if you got a black winged bird, seem to have black at the bottom. They call them socks at the bottom of the legs. You get a little black coming out from underneath the ground color on the bodies, or like be creeping into the vent line on the bottom of the bird too. You'll see you'll see black bleeding in from the back into there. I'd say that was probably some of the or lack of sheen. I mean, is another thing. I mean, working on the color of the bird overall is probably one of the most important things. But let's see, some pretty decent birds at the shows and stuff.
Are there any books kind of like the Archangel Bible or any really popular books specifically related to this breed that you would recommend to someone who's interested in reading these?
There is, but the only thing is they're only published in German.
Oh, so you got to learn
And
German
so
first. I mean, that's dedication.
well, well, you could probably translate it somehow on the internet, but I would want to buy this one book, and it's only available in German, and it's like, well, anyway, I don't want to go to all that trouble to try to. A friend of mine said I bought it, and I said, "Why do you speak German?" No, but I'm like, it's got some good illustrations in it. I'm like, well, yeah, I just don't want to buy it to look at the pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, our club actually has a book on breeding and judging the archangels, which I'm out of right now. I have to get some more ordered, but I'm needing to get some stuff revised in it before I get a new print on it. Yeah, we sell a little handbook on judging and breeding our archangels, and it has some very good information there on all the different colors, the main colors, and it's got good and bad pictures in there of the good. It's got fault pictures and pictures of good birds. They're actual photographs of them. It's a very useful book.
Nice. And the club does bulletins too, which is always a good way to stay up on all that stuff. So
Yeah, we
can't go
try to
wrong with
do.
that.
Yeah, we try to do a couple a year. Like I say, since we moved last year, and we need to get one out this spring from last year's shows we had. But it's kind of like, I don't know. We've been I don't know if I don't know, the pigeon hobby in whole seems to be kind of shrinking somewhat. I don't know if it's because lack of youth getting involved in it and some of the older guys passing away, but I've just noticed that over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good shows out there, still a lot of people breeding pigeons, but it just seems like it you know is shrinking somewhat.
Yeah. The is there any advice or tips that you kind of learned along the way of breeding Archangel that you'd share with somebody who's maybe interested or kind of getting started with this breed?
Well, like any breed of pigeons, I guess, unless you're, start out with find some reputable breeders. Try to buy some good quality stock birds from them. I mean, that's going to help you out so much. I mean, gonna make things easier than trying to start out with something that isn't good and trying to make it good. I mean, you got to start out with something good and try to make it better. Is what it is. What I think anyway. I mean, you got to start out with some decent stock. I mean, you see a lot of archangels out there. You go to swap meets and stuff, and every once in a while you see some that are good at some of them. But I mean, go to the shows, the bigger shows, the people that are showing them all the time, breeding them, for quality and to the standard, and try to get some birds from them. I mean, that would probably be the best advice I could give you on that.
That's good advice. I mean, it just gives you such a head start when you start with good quality birds.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know there's people out there that can take stuff, but like a friend of mine says, that's a 5 year. We're looking at something and about making it better or whatever. He's That's a five-year project. When you can cut out a bunch of years by getting some good stock from a reputable breeder, some good quality stuff.
Yeah, 5 years of feeding and everything else too. I mean,
Yeah,
it all adds up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Unless that's what you want to do. If you want the challenge, then go for it, I guess. It's still challenging. Not that I'm not saying it isn't. It's still very challenging. I'm still trying to, I've been, like I said, been raising them. I'm still trying to breed the perfect specimen.
Yeah, it's the standard of perfection that, they're all trying to get at with each breed. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not easy. Everybody'd be getting it all the time.
Yep.
And so, can you talk a little bit about the national club? There is a Facebook, right?
Yep. There's a Jimmy Vine started that. It's on the American Archangel Club, and you can go on Facebook and go on it. It's kind of different. You have to. It's not like a well to post anything on there. I think you got to go through one of the people that are mediators of the site to get anything posted on it. But he posts stuff on there and everything. But is also Gimple Archangel Facebook group. That's another good one. That's people all over the world too. A lot of people in Germany and stuff on there. And then there's Archangel Fancier Facebook group too is another one. I'd say probably the Gimple one probably gets the most widespread, over the world use and followers and people posting from on there.
And the national club for here in the U.S. is archangelpigeon.com. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Archangelpigeon.com, or you can just put in, if you want to do a search on that, you can just put in American Archangel Club.com and it'll come up on there. And it's got
Okay.
all the there's a members area in there. You have to be a member of the club to get in, but there's also a little store on there. It's got all the standards and everything for each color on there, and faults and stuff for each breed. What's a major fault, minor fault, and stuff. And it's got the scoring system on there. We go off the European style scoring system, which we
Okay.
don't place birds 1, 2, 3, 4. They each get a score. Which 97 is a E bird, which is your top rating, which you don't see many of them. But 96, you're highly superior. 95 through 93 is a superior bird. That's stuff you'd want to be breeding out of. Then you get down to 92, which is good, and which, yeah. Anyway, when you get down to 92, it's a G rating, and yeah, you try not to raise stuff like that, or and then it goes down to 90. Of course, is your bottom end on the scoring on that European style.
And they can join membership through that website also.
Yeah, there's a store on there. You can pay your membership dues on there too, through the PayPal. That, and
Nice.
you can order bands, and there's patches on there. And we usually have books on there, but like I say, I'm out of stock on them right now. Doing some revising to it. As soon as I can get them available, yeah, have them back on there again.
Okay. Excellent. Well, anybody who is interested in following up with this breed, there's obviously quite a few different Facebook groups on there. And anyone here in the US that's interested in joining up with the national club here in the States, archangelpigeon.com, or like you said, you can just Google the American Archangel Club .com and get you all set up right there. So, Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure talking with you and learning all about this breed.
Oh, no problem, Bill. I enjoyed it.
And that's another episode of the All About Pigeons podcast. Thanks for joining us today and for being a part of this incredible pigeon community. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a fellow pigeon fancier. Leave a comment, follow wherever you're listening. Every share helps introduce more people to the hobby that we all love. You can find our one-of-a-kind merchandise, support our nonprofit mission with a donation, and explore all the different resources we have available for you at pigeonpod.com. That's pigeonpod.com. Do you have a topic that you'd like us to cover? Do you have a guest that you want to have on the show? Maybe you yourself would like to come on and just talk pigeons with us. Go ahead and send us an email at staff@pigeonpod.com. Remember, every episode of the All About Pigeons podcast is listener requested and completely ad-free thanks to the support of this community. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Phillip Fry, and remember, together, the hobby thrives, support each other, and enjoy your pigeons.